Today, we're going to completely change how you look at financial charts. We're going to stop treating them like some kind of complex math problem and start seeing them for what they really are, a story that's just waiting for you to read it.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a pretty bold claim, all right? If you're out there trying to trade by memorizing dozens of these crazy named patterns from a cheat sheet, the abandoned baby, the evening star, all that stuff, then you've basically been taught a lie. The whole idea that these are some kind of magic cheat codes, it's just completely broken.
And I bet this looks familiar, right? This is that painful result we've all felt. You spot what looks like a perfect textbook pattern. You get that rush of excitement, you jump into the trade, and then bam! The price just tanks, and you're left sitting there scratching your head wondering, what on earth just happened? Well, listen, it wasn't the pattern that failed you. It was the entire approach. It's the memorization that's the problem. So, okay, if that's the old, broken way, what's the fix? What's the new way? Well, it's all about a complete shift in how you think about this. We're going to stop trying to memorize a whole library of complicated patterns. Instead, we're going to learn how to actually read the story that the chart is trying to tell us.
And this right here, this is the core idea. You've got to stop trying to memorize a dictionary's worth of confusing patterns. It's just not going to work. Instead, we're going to learn the market's alphabet. And here's the crazy part. It turns out every single one of those complex patterns you've seen, it's just built from three simple letters.
So, here it is. This is our alphabet. You have to understand, every single candle you see on a chart, I don't care how complicated the pattern looks, it's just one of these three simple types. Getting this is everything. All right, let's meet the first letter.
Okay, our first letter, the strength candle. And this one tells a story of pure absolute dominance. When you see one of these, there's no question, no ambiguity. One side is in complete control, and they are winning in a big, big way.
So, let's break this down. It's actually super simple. Look at this. A big, fat candle body and tiny little wicks. What does that mean? It means one side, either the buyers or the sellers, is totally in charge. They just bulldoze the price from one point to another with almost zero fight back.
And get this, the size of that body tells you exactly how much control they have. A huge, massive green candle, that's like the market screaming that buyers are in command. A smaller one, well, that's more like a whisper. It's all about the intensity, the sheer force behind the move.
All right, our second letter is a little different. This one's all about conflict, about rejection. This candle isn't telling you who's in control right now. Oh no, it's telling you who tried to take control and failed. Miserably. It's the story of a failed attack. You see that long wick? That's the real hero of this story. That wick is the evidence of a huge battle. Just look at what happened. The price was pushed way, way out in one direction, all the way to the tip of that wick, but then the other side said no way and powerfully shoved it all the way back. That long tail tells you everything. Who tried to take over, who got rejected, and who actually won that round. And that brings us to our third and final letter. This one, it represents a pause in the story. It's a moment of perfect, tense balance, total uncertainty. It's like the market is holding its breath, and the whole world is asking, okay, what happens next?
What you're seeing here is a perfect stalemate. Buyers are pushing, sellers are pushing, they're putting in equal effort, but nobody's making any ground. Now, this is a massive warning sign. You absolutely never, ever trade based on these candles alone. Why? Because they're a question, and your job is to wait for the answer.
But watch what happens when you put them together. The story just snaps into focus. First, you get the question. The market hesitates, it shows that indecision. Then you get a big, strong candle. That's your answer. It reveals who won the battle. And that combination, the question followed by the answer, that is a clear, powerful signal you can actually use.
Okay, so that's the theory. But theory is one thing, right? Let's get practical. We're going to jump into a real chart right now and see how these three little letters combine to tell a complete story, from start to finish. It's time to put our new alphabet to the test.
So for a minute, I want you to forget everything you think you know about patterns. We're just going to read this chart, one candle at a time. We're going to read the story of the epic battle between buyers and sellers just as it happened. So our story begins, and the sellers are completely in control. You can see them just pushing the price down, down, down. But then, look, right here at the bottom, we get our first clue. See those indecision candles popping up? That's the sellers running out of steam. They're hesitating. The entire story is on the verge of a major plot twist. Now pay close attention to this. You see this whole move down? It took the sellers 22 candles. 22, that's how long it took them to grind the price all the way down to this low point. Just keep that number in your head, 22. But then look what happens next. The buyers step in. And it only took them 4. Just 4. 4 massive strength candles to wipe out that entire sell-off. So, what does that tell you? Who's really in charge here?
This is the plot twist we were looking for. The sheer speed, the aggression of that recovery. It's a massive signal. It tells us that buyers are now in overwhelming control. The story has completely flipped. It's not about the sellers anymore. It's all about the incredible raw power of the buyers. And because we read the story, we now know where the key battlegrounds are going to be. We've identified the seller's territory, that's this area of supply up here, but more importantly, we know exactly where the buyers have built their fortress, right down here in this area of demand. And now, we get the climax of our story. It happens in 3 parts. 1. The price comes back down to the buyer's home turf. 2. The sellers make a desperate push to break through, but they get powerfully rejected. You see that control shift candle right there? That's the failed attack. And 3. The buyers slam the door with a massive strength candle, confirming for everyone that the battle is over. They won, and they are in complete control.
And that, right there, is the resolution. See how there's no guesswork here? There's no memorized pattern. We read the story, we saw control shift, and that gave us a beautiful, high-probability setup. The entry is confirmed by the buyer's final push. The stop-loss goes right below their fortress where it's safe. And the target? Well, that's the seller's territory, way up top.
So really, the biggest thing to take away from all this is simple. Stop taking trades based on some single random pattern you found on a cheat sheet. It's a dead end. Instead, learn to read the story as it unfolds, candle by candle. Because once you can spot these areas where control is shifting, you will start to see the market in a completely new light.
So I'll leave you with this one question. The next time you pull up a chart, just stop and ask yourself, am I trying to solve a math problem here, or am I reading the story? Because making that one little shift in perspective, well, that's the difference between endless frustration and finding some real clarity.